Would you give a wrong answer because everyone else does? Welcome to Critical Thinking Scan, where we look at how you can think about any faith-challenging message and arrive at a biblical, logical conclusion yourself. I'm Patricia Engler, and today I'm going to share some research I found absolutely mind-blowing when I first read it in my first-year psychology textbook because it shows the power of social conformity. I mentioned conformity back in the video about check number 5 of critical thinking, check for propaganda. Remember, propaganda is any form of communication that tries to persuade without using logic. And a common type of propaganda plays on something called the bandwagon effect, which describes humans' tendency to go along with what other people are doing. As humans, we're socially wired creatures, so we typically want to follow other people and be accepted and be liked and avoid any negative consequences which might come from standing out. So we have a built-in drive to try to conform. But resisting conformity can often be important, especially for Christians in secular classrooms and cultures where, speaking from experience, it's easy to feel alone in your biblical beliefs. For instance, I remember being in a class where a professor said that, well, creationists believe Earth is about 6,000 years old. And a student responded, "I can't believe there are still people who believe that." And at times like that, it's easy to feel wrong about your biblical worldview since everyone else seems to think something different. But logically, the number of people who believe something is irrelevant to whether it's true. In fact, saying a message is true just because many people believe it is a fallacy called appeal to the people. Even so, the majority opinion can sound extremely persuasive, as a set of famous experiments from the 1950s by a psychologist named Solomon Asch shows. These experiments went something like this. Imagine you're a college student recruited to participate in a study about perception. You sit down at a table with several other young people whom you don't realize are actors in the study. At the front of the room, a researcher displays 2 cards with lines drawn on them. Your job is to say whether line A, B, or C on the right-hand card is the same as the line on the left side. Everyone takes turns saying their answer out loud, and for the first couple of rounds, everything goes fine. But for the 3rd round, you can see that the correct answer is line B. But to your surprise, everyone else in the room answers that it's line C. When it's your turn to answer, what do you say? If you're like over 1/3 of the students in this study, you would give the wrong answer and say line C just because it's what everybody else did, even though your eyes are telling you that the right answer is B. Conformity is powerful. Yet in further experiments, Asch realized that if just one other person in the room also gave the right answer, resisting the majority consensus, then 95% of students felt confident enough to give the right answer too. And that shows how valuable it can be as a Christian student to know there's just one other person in your classroom who believes the Bible like you do, and it shows the power of being that one other student. This research also sheds light on why during my travels to document how Christian students keep their faith at secular universities worldwide, one of the biggest themes which came up was the importance of interpersonal foundations, which I defined as having Christian family, friends, pastors, and mentors around you to remind you that you're not alone in your beliefs. On the flip side, the power of conformity also shows why beliefs like molecules to man evolution or life's spontaneous origins from simple chemicals go largely unquestioned in the education system, even though those ideas oppose what we know from observational science. Students just tend to accept the mainstream ideas they're taught like their professors did and their professors before them, for research has shown that when a speaker saying something we know is a majority opinion, we are way less likely to think critically about their arguments. That's all the more reason to intentionally practice biblical, critical thinking skills instead of automatically siding with the majority opinion. For more on how to think critically about messages which challenge the Bible's teachings, you can access my other CT scan videos packed with tactics, tips, and tools that helped me as a Christian student at secular university. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's Patricia here. Just wanting to let you know that if you like these videos, a free, easy way to help Answers in Genesis Canada create more content and equip more people to defend their faith is to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, click the bell, and of course, share these resources. That lets the social media algorithms help these videos reach more people who can benefit from them, saving us advertising expenses while promoting biblical authority. Thank you so much.